No. Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Can we have a roll call, please, Julie?
Ms. Bradford,
Here.
Mr. Chanchuli, Dr. Forger,
Here.
Mr. Hyman, Mrs. Khanna, Mrs. Stanley, Mrs. Young,
Here.
Mrs. Penna.
Yeah. Adequate notice of this meeting of the Berkeley Heights Board of Education was given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act as follows. On May 25th, 2023, notice of the Board of Education meeting schedule was sent to the Star Ledger and the Courier News and was also provided to all schools, PTO presidents, the BHEA president, and posted at the administration building. A copy was also provided to the public library and filed with the municipal clerk. Adjourn to executive session. Whereas the Berkeley Heights Board of Education seeks to adjourn to executive session in full compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6 et sec. And whereas the Open Public Meetings Act provides that a public body may exclude the public from that portion of the meeting at which it discusses matters related to those identified below. Matters rendered confidential by federal law, state law, or court rule. Individual privacy, collective bargaining agreements, purchase or lease of real property if public interest could be adversely affected, investment of public funds if public interest could be adversely affected, tactics or techniques utilized in protecting public safety and property, pending or anticipated litigation, attorney-client privilege, personnel, employment matters affecting specific prospective or current employees. Be it resolved that the Berkeley Heights Board of Education adjourns to executive session to discuss matters related to superintendent's evaluation, student matters, personnel matters, legal matters, and negotiations. And be it further resolved that the minutes of the discussion of any of these items will be disclosed to the public when matters have been determined and confidentiality is no longer applicable. I would like a motion to adjourn to executive session. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned. We should be back around 7:30. Are we still, oh, Julie. Still waiting for Julie.
She's coming.
Julie, Deputy, okay. Good evening, everyone. I would like a motion to return from public session.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Can we please stand for the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we have a jam-packed agenda tonight, so I'll go straight on to the report of the student representatives.
Hello, everyone. As our Highlander athletes get ready for a long offseason ahead, the hard work and dedication they put into the 2023 spring season should not go unnoticed. Let's recap. The baseball team ended the season with a 17-7 record as they lost in a nail-biting Union County championship game 1-0 to Cranford. The 2023 baseball team was one of the best and youngest teams that Coach Roof has been a part of. The team has a bright future ahead, and fans will be anticipating an even better and more exciting season next year. Coach Roof could not provide an athlete of the season, as he said that he had a bunch of players worthy of the award. This just goes to show how committed our Highlander baseball athletes are and the effort they put into the game every single day. The softball team ended the season with a 19-7 record. The softball team also made the Union County championship game, but lost 2-1 to Cranford. Coach Lanigan nominates her 7 seniors as athletes of the season: Elise Faxon, Kelly Hanratty, Anna Popola, Savannah Levine, Kate Grinelli, Katie DeBello, and Alita Murad. Lanigan notes, these 7 seniors have led by example since they stepped foot onto the varsity field. Many of them have been playing softball together since they were little, and the bond that they formed is truly something special. They've set the bar high and are certainly leaving big shoes to fill, but I'm confident in the path they've carved out for the underclassmen. The girls have won 2 Highlander Showdown tournaments, made it to the county finals twice, beat arch rival Cranford twice, knocking them out of their top 20 ranking in the state, and have made it to the state sectional semifinal 3 years in a row. The boys lacrosse team finished the season 11-9 with a Clank division title. The boys lacrosse athlete of the season is senior Aiden Lindy, who led the team in points, goals, and assists. Lindy also recorded his 100th career goal this season, a remarkable milestone. The girls lacrosse team finished the season with a 5-13 record. The girls lacrosse athlete of the season is senior captain Waverly Lauren. Coach Wells notes, Waverly is a relentless and persistent force to be reckoned with on the lacrosse field. She is the first one to a ground ball and does not shy away from a challenge on the field. Waverly is someone her teammates can rely on to win the ball back, score a quick goal, and be ready to win the next draw control. Waverly's skills go beyond the lacrosse field. She is a true leader by example, acting as an inclusive and fair teammate both on and off the field. Lauren was awarded the prestigious Michael Susana Scholar Athlete Award. She was also awarded second team All-County Union County, first team All-League in Independent South, and All-Academic in Independent South. The boys and girls track and field team are still competing as they get ready for the state group championships this Friday and Saturday. The boys tennis team finished the season with a 15-8 record. The boys tennis athlete of the season is senior Shreyas Agnihotri. Junior teammate Joe Leposki notes, everyone on the team loves him. He's always the first at practice and a fun guy to be around. He keeps his morale up and is a fighter, even playing some tough matches during Ramadan where he wasn't eating or drinking all day. The golf team finished the season with a 3-10 record. The golf athlete of the season is Christian Sabatino. Teammate Aiden Rasilis notes, golf can be extremely difficult, especially consistency, and despite these factors, Christian was able to place top 4 in best score multiple times throughout the course of a match. Thank you.
Great. Hi, everyone. The past few weeks have been packed with activities and excitement as the end of the school year approaches. Underclassmen have been preparing for final exams and arranging course schedules for the next school year. On the flip side, the seniors at GL have been busy with prom and preparing for graduation. Since the last few weeks of school are scattered with fun activities and field trips, many clubs have focused on wrapping up their agenda for the year and holding some final meetings. Here are some highlights. GL students participated in a culture fair during lunch where clubs and all students were encouraged to showcase different cultures through music, food, fashion, and more. All students were able to walk from table to table to gain a better understanding of cultures around the world. Some students at GL participated in a brand new initiative called the Climate Symposium in May, which was created for students to gather and learn more about the growing climate change issue. Students worked in groups after their AP exams to identify key causes of climate change and ways to address the issue. The Women in STEM Club held their STEM Day at Columbia Middle School in late May to promote STEM to younger girls and minorities in STEM. High schoolers ran activity stations and an engineering challenge, and the club also invited guest speakers from Nokia Bell Labs to speak to the students. Today, physics students took a trip to Six Flags. The event was organized by the physics teachers at GL as a fun way to end the school year. Lastly, some clubs have organized their final fundraisers of the school year. For example, the Spanish Club held an empanada sale, and the Sexuality and Gender Acceptance Club held a goodie bag sale in celebration of Pride Month. All proceeds will be donated to the Trevor Project. And the Understanding Asian Cultures Club will be holding GL's first boba sale this week as their final fundraising event of the year. As this is the last Board of Education meeting of the school year, it's exciting to see that the clubs and activities at GL have been proactive and effective in creating an inclusive environment for the student body and allowing students to engage in their surrounding community. And on that note, I hope everyone has a fantastic summer. Thank you.
And now we'll move on to the superintendent, the report of the superintendent.
Good evening. This is our very special board meeting where we honor our educators, those who have been recognized by our community as Educators of the Year, and those who have dedicated their time and basically their lives to our students. If you do any research, you know that the teacher is the single most important indicator of student achievement. So we thank you for all you've done for our students. Our students are successful because of you. I also want to take a moment to thank our student representatives. Catherine, I wish you all the best at MIT. We will miss you, but we are also so very proud of you. And Jake, thanks for giving us your time, and we will see you for more fun next year. And Ms. Penna, I think we're going to go up there and
Okay. Okay, Catherine. Whereas Catherine Zhao is a senior at Governor Livingston High School in the Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. And whereas Catherine is the captain of the Robotics Club, president of both the Science Olympiad Club and the Science National Honor Society, an executive board member of the Understanding Asians Cultures Club, and a representative of the Student Council. And whereas Catherine volunteers as an ambassador for the Girl Scouts, Heart of New Jersey, and a volunteer musician at the Berners Ensemble. And whereas Catherine is the captain and a 4-year varsity letter winner, participating in tennis and a violinist for the school orchestra and the New Jersey Youth Symphony. And whereas Catherine is a member of the National Honor Society, Mu Alpha Theta, the Spanish National Honor Society, the Tri-M Music National Honor Society, a selected competition member of the MathWorks Math Modeling Club competition, the STEM League, the Math League, and the Science Bowl, and a leader in the Technology Student Association Engineering Club. And whereas Catherine has been awarded the Princeton Book Award, the Rensselaer Medal Award, Girl Scout Gold and Silver Award, the title of scholar for both the Columbia University Science Honors Program and the Governor Livingston School of Engineering and Technology. And whereas Catherine served with distinction in the Governor Livingston High School Student Liaison Program to the Berkeley Heights Board of Education for her junior and senior year, serving as a liaison between the board and her peers. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Berkeley Heights Board of Education hereby recognizes Catherine Zhao for her contributions to the students of the Berkeley Heights Public Schools and for her service to the communities of Berkeley Heights and Mountainside. And be it further resolved, the Berkeley Heights Board of Education wishes Catherine the best of luck as she moves on to study electrical engineering and computer science at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Signed and sealed this the 5th day of June of the year 2023.
we're going to get a quick.
Okay, whereas Jake Bowen is a junior at Governor Livingston High School in Berkeley Heights, New Jersey, and whereas Jake is a treasurer of the students in prayer club, and whereas Jake volunteers with the Berkeley Heights PAL, the Silver Lining Foundation, the YMCA, and the Little Flower Church, and is a special needs buddy. And whereas Jake is a student athlete participating in track and field and basketball. And whereas Jake is a member of the National Honor Society, the Spanish Honor Society, the Highlander newspaper staff, and a tap into intern. And whereas Jake served with distinction in the Governor Livingston High School Student Liaison Program to the Berkeley Heights Board of Education for his junior year, serving as a liaison between the board and his peers. And now therefore be it resolved that the Berkeley Heights Board of Education hereby recognizes Jake Bowen for his contributions to the students of the Berkeley Heights Public School and for his service to the communities of Berkeley Heights and the Mountainside. And be it further resolved that the Berkeley Heights Board of Education wishes Jake the best of luck as he moves into his senior year at Governor Livingston High School. Signed and sealed this the 5th day of June of the year 2023. Congratulations. Next year.
Do you mind taking a picture of Angela and I?
You want it? Which way do you want it?
Probably, yes, with.
Horizontal and the other way. Just in case.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congrats, guys. Way to go.
Thank you.
And now we move to our Educators of the Year. I'm going to start out with Frank Fabiano. Frank Fabiano is at Mary K. McMillan Early Childhood Center. His career in education spans 20 years. In addition to his 9 years of dedication to Berkeley Heights as a special education teacher, he spent 10 years teaching private school ABA students to students with autism and multiple disabilities. Mr. Fabiano has a Bachelor of Arts in Elementary Education and Special Education. Mr. Fabiano's colleagues share that he is regarded as an expert in the special education field. He has the ability to bring out the best in every student academically, socially, and emotionally. He is an integral part of the social, emotional, and behavioral well-being of our students. He is most famous for dancing down the hallway to Bill Withers' Lovely Day in the morning to pump everyone up for the day. Mr. Fabiano's value is felt by his students and colleagues at Mary K. McMillan Early Childhood Center. He inspires his colleagues to be better and do better. When his colleagues think of someone who fulfills our district's mission of including, inspiring, and empowering all students, Frank Fabiano is the first to come to mind. Congratulations, Mr. Fabiano. Will you please come up? Don't go anywhere. And Nicole, if you would like to come up.
Good evening, everybody. I'm actually Carla. Nicole couldn't make it, so I'm here on her behalf. That's okay. You didn't know. It's okay. On behalf of the families and the PTO of Mary K. McMillan, I am honored to be up here to celebrate Mr. Frank Fabiano. Whether it be his dance parties to start the day, the way he can soothe a group of first graders, or his infectious smile, Mr. Fabiano is truly one of a kind, and we are so grateful to have him. It is my pleasure to congratulate the Mary K. McMillan Educator of the Year, Mr. Frank Fabiano. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you, Dr. Varley. Thank you to the board. Okay, thank you so much. Just want to give a shout out to my family. My wife, Erin, my two children, Desmond and Rose. Unfortunately, Desmond cannot be here tonight. He's sick, so he feels terrible, but can't be here. Love you guys. I'm really honored to receive this award. So thank you to everyone who nominated me. I'd also like to congratulate all the other recipients. What a great accomplishment. So give them a big round of applause too. So I do just want to thank a few people, and I promise I'll definitely keep it brief. So I've been fortunate enough to have worked with so many and learned from so many wonderful colleagues during my tenure here in Berkeley Heights. I would like to thank my kind, supportive principal, Annie Corley Hands, who's given me great guidance throughout my 10 years at MKM. And thanks to my MKM family for your camaraderie and support. Thanks to the awesome PTO. Thank you to Michelle Gardner in the special ed department, and to Paul Grant for always having my back. I want to give a big thanks to all of my caring, dedicated, and creative co-teaching partners who've had to put up with me all of these years. They are, in chronological order, Jared Prupis, Karen Twill, Rachel Shaniger, and Janet Graham. I appreciate all of you, and I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to work side by side with you. So thank you all. To all of our amazing paraprofessionals, they are our eyes and our ears. So we couldn't do things without them. Especially Sue Lameda and Christine Woods, who I've been fortunate enough to have been working with for the past few years. I might not be up here tonight if it weren't for the support, their support and their hard work. Thank you both for everything you do every day for our students. And speaking of students, last but not least, I especially want to thank all of the wonderful students. They are the reason why I come to work every day. And even today on my day off, I am here. So thank you. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So in my haste to get to the good stuff, I forgot Ms. Bartlett needs to come up and tell us how the whole process works. So we're going to backtrack for a minute, and Jackie Bartlett and Grace Acosta are the Educators of the Year experts. And so we like to have them come talk about the process. So sorry for forgetting about you.
Good evening, everyone. So as Dr. Varley said, Ms. Acosta and I are the co-chairs of the Educator of the Year Committee. And it's with great pleasure that I speak to you this evening. As educators, we look to inspire and to make a difference in the lives of children. We strive to establish a productive classroom climate and rapport with students while keeping up with current trends and strategies that are most effective for their learning. Tonight, we honor and celebrate educators who have made lasting impressions in the lives of their students, parents, and colleagues. In January, letters were sent and posted inviting parents, students, staff members, and community members to select nominees that they felt best exhibited the qualities of Educator of the Year. In nominating this year's candidates, we sought teachers who demonstrated highly effective engagements with their students, dedicated service to their school and community, and demonstrated significant commitment to their own professional growth as lifelong learners. Additionally, we, the administration, considered the evaluation piece and incorporated it into the process when choosing the nomination. Based on those nominations, a committee composed of prior Educators of the Year, members of the PTO, and a member of our Board of Education met to complete the silent voting selection process. Ballots were counted and our 2022-2023 Educators of the Year were selected. Dr. Varley, Ms. Acosta, and I were excited to travel to each school this year and congratulate the Educators of the Year in their classrooms. The students in each class enthusiastically congratulated their teachers and took part in photographs to commemorate the event. Educators of the Year, Mary Denninger, Frank Fabiano, Christina Froelich, Maria Graziano, Lindsay Mirabella, and Sean Waller. We thank you for your dedication to your students, the families of Berkeley Heights. Tonight, we celebrate you. I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Varley as she introduces each recipient.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bartlett. So I'm now going to talk about Mary Denninger. She has been a teacher in the Berkeley Heights Public Schools for 9 years. Ms. Denninger's dedication to the Berkeley Heights community started in 2013, where she served as a substitute, home instructor, and help teacher. From there, Ms. Denninger transitioned to a first grade teacher for both Mary K. McMillan and Woodruff Elementary Schools. She has a master's in elementary education from Rutgers Graduate School of Education and holds additional subject matter certification in social studies. During the nomination process, a Woodruff colleague shared that Ms. Denninger creates an engaging classroom environment that is purposeful and meaningful. Her students respond to her nurturing, kind, and patient demeanor as a teacher. Principal Brenda Marley wrote that Ms. Denninger is a valued member of the Woodruff staff. Her professionalism, commitment, and dedication to the children is complemented by her positive attitude and calm demeanor. With her expertise in social and emotional learning and technology, Mary is a leader among her peers. Congratulations, Ms. Denninger. Will you please come up? Katie D'Angelo, if you'll come up, please.
I'm representing the Woodruff PTO tonight, and I reached out to them to find out more about Ms. Dendinger. According to her students and their families, Ms. Dendinger possesses kindness, respect, patience, and compassion to all she meets. She truly is a wonderful, wonderful teacher. And on behalf of the William Woodruff PTO, I am happy to recognize Ms. Dendinger as our Educator of the Year.
Hi, my name is Mary Dendinger, and I'm honored and grateful to have been chosen to receive the Educator of the Year award. It is a tremendous honor to be recognized for my work as a first grade teacher at William Woodruff Elementary. When I tell people that I teach first grade, I can usually expect one of a few responses. Oh, that must be so cute. I don't know how you do it. Summer's off, that must be nice. Or someone was a teacher, thank you for what you do. And to those responses, I have different reactions. To the, oh, that must be so fun. It is really fun. My 6- and 7-year-old coworkers are amazingly fun and funny. I love sharing in their excitement and learning. Though I don't always take that conversation further, if I do, I may try to elevate the awe by sharing a bit more. It is important to recognize that behind the scenes, there is a great deal of effort and complexity involved in creating that adorable and happy classroom atmosphere. Our classrooms are full of learners of diverse backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives. Teachers work extremely hard to achieve a classroom that is a safe space where each student feels respected, valued, and embraced for who they are. We provide opportunities for our little ones to explore their emotions, navigate conflicts, and develop healthy relationships. We teach empathy, understanding, and inclusivity. Through engaging discussions, cooperative activities, and modeling positive behaviors, we promote an environment where acceptance thrives and friendships blossom. And when we put in the work and take the time and effort to build that sort of supportive classroom environment, to an outsider looking in, it seems extremely appropriate that their response would be aw, because it's very sweet. To the, I don't know how you do it. Sometimes I'm not really sure how we do it either. Teaching is a multifaceted profession, and I sometimes find my head spinning with the lessons to be planned, meetings to attend, materials to organize, special days or events to remember, emotional support one or more students may need on a given day, emotional support one or more coworkers may need on a given day. The occasional cog in the wheel that comes in the form of a bloody nose, a wiggly tooth, a toy that was misplaced during recess, an empty box of tissues, a metallic water bottle hitting the floor with a deafening crash. And while I don't always know how we do it, I can say the job is made easier because of the love for my students and because I have such a supportive community surrounding me. While each day is an exercise in patience, it really helps to have the support of those around you. I'm grateful for the unending support and friendship I have from my colleagues. And to the summers off must be really nice. I say, the world is in desperate need of more educators. Join us, and then you too can have summers off. And then to someone was a teacher, thank you for what you do. I say, thank you. Teaching is not just a job, it's a calling. We have the privilege of making a difference in the lives of our students, and the impact of an exceptional educator can never be underestimated. Thank you for recognizing the importance of what we do. And once again, I am profoundly grateful to receive the Educator of the Year award. Thank you for the honor, and thank you to all the educators who tirelessly devote themselves to shaping the minds of the next generation.
And now Maria Graziano. Maria has been a part of the Berkeley Heights Public Schools community since 1999. She was a teacher for 9 years in the Hamilton Terrace School, now known as Mary K. McMillan. In 2009, she transitioned from a classroom teacher to her current position of reading specialist at Mountain Park. Ms. Graziano has a Bachelor of Arts in Human Ecology with a concentration in early childhood education and a master's in reading from Montclair State University. Principal John Morrisseau shared that Maria is someone who never backs down from a challenge. She regularly makes use of every item in her extensive instructional and behavior management toolkit to provide every student she encounters with what they need to be successful. And if she does not find the growth or progress she is looking for, she turns on the charm, which never fails. Mountain Park parents describe her as a teacher who is always willing to help. She is a giver to her students, her colleagues, her school, and the district in general. We are always impressed at how much love and attention she has to give our Mountain Park community. She is an amazing asset to Mountain Park and to the Berkeley Heights School District, and we are lucky to have her. Congratulations, Mrs. Graziano. Will you please come up?
Hi, everyone. So I'd like to begin by thanking the members of the Berkeley Heights Board of Education, Dr. Varley, Dr. Greer, Mrs. Mary Beth Kopaz, my principal, Mr. John Morrisseau, and the Mountain Park PTO. I would also like to thank my family that's here tonight, especially my husband, Greg, and my beautiful daughters, Bella and Adriana, for loving me and accepting all of my flaws. And I know there are many. I'm sure everyone is familiar with the saying, "It takes a village." This quote references a network of relationships and values that connect us and bind us together. My village is located right here in Berkeley Heights. I'm connected to Berkeley Heights as a parent of a soon-to-be GL graduating high school senior who will be attending Virginia Tech in the fall, and a middle schooler who will soon be a 7th grader at Columbia Middle School. Because of the Berkeley Heights School District, my girls have had a village of teachers who have left a lasting impression. Thank you to all those past and present teachers. Yes, I am also connected to my village of people as a resident and as an employee of the Berkeley Heights Schools since 1999, but the connections go deeper. I'm connected to Berkeley Heights because of the people, because of you. I knew early on in my career that I wanted to work in this district. I had substituted in the Berkeley Heights Schools a few times, and I immediately wanted to be part of the magic I experienced at what at the time was called Hamilton Terrace School, now the Early Childhood Center, the McMillan Early Childhood Center. There was something about that school, and more importantly, the people there, that just felt like home. I was blessed to be part of that magic for 9 years. Now for the last 15, I have been able to grow those connections and make new ones at another home away from home, Mountain Park School. I have so much to be grateful for. Lifelong friendships, a network of supportive families, and most importantly, my favorite people, the students, who make me smile and laugh. Thank you to all my past and present students for bringing me so much joy and for giving me endless stories to tell. Teachers who have become family, parents, students, they are all part of my village. How lucky am I? This job is like no other because while you're handed a tremendous task of educating our future leaders, you cannot do this alone. You must rely on your village. Words cannot express how grateful I am for what this village has done for me. This village was my support system, my therapy, and my medicine during a time when I needed strength. I am so blessed to have this village in my corner. Thank you for pushing me to be the best version of myself and for keeping the flame within me lit. I shine bright because of you. Thank you for the honor of naming me this year's Mountain Park Educator of the Year, which is an honor I share with all of you, my village.
Ms. Papusinski.
Really don't want to follow that, but I will. Be it her encouraging and warm smile, or the way she motivates her students to be their best self, or her ability to laugh at the little things when they don't go just right. Maria Graziano is an educator through and through, and she is truly one of the best. On behalf of the families and the PTO of Mountain Park School, I am so deeply honored to celebrate Maria Graziano as our Educator of the Year. Pound it.
And now Sean Waller. Sean Waller has been employed in Berkeley Heights Public Schools since September 2001. Mr. Waller has a bachelor's degree and a master's in instruction and curriculum from Kean University. Prior to joining Berkeley Heights, he worked in New York City as a cameraman and an editor for TV news, and he is the author of 2 books. Mr. Waller's passion for teaching and vibrant personality shines through on a daily basis. When students were asked what they enjoyed most about Mr. Waller's class, they responded that Mr. Waller is kind, funny, and makes learning fun. The students explained that their favorite lessons and activities this year included writing about their dream dinner with a famous person, the read aloud Mick Hart Was Here, early explorers, and the daily geography question and Jeopardy. Mr. Waller greets his students with a smile, a joke, and most importantly, a positive message each morning. Mr. Waller ensures that every student has a voice and he designs his lessons to be interactive and hands-on. Principal Nardi shared that Mr. Waller joined our Hughes family just 2 years ago, having worked most of his career at William Woodruff School. However, in the short time he has been here, he has made a big impact on staff and students alike. Congratulations, Mr. Waller. Will you please come up? And Mr. Miguez, if you will come up from the Hughes PTO.
Mr. Waller spent the bulk of his career, 5th grade teacher at Woodruff, and for the past 2 years, we've been privileged to have him as part of our youth family. He's known for his easygoing nature, his sense of humor, and his ability to relate to students. Mr. Waller makes learning fun, and we are very fortunate to have him at Hughes.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Varley, Board of Education, Teacher of the Year committee members. It's an honor to be here. I don't necessarily feel that I'm worthy of this, but I truly appreciate that you do. Like my lesson, this is going to be a little bit all over the place, so it should come together at the end. You know those how it started, how it's going memes? I don't know if you've ever seen those. Like how it started, there's a beautiful wedding picture, and then how it's going, there's like they're fighting and it's not going so well. And I'm sure you've heard of George Clooney, famous actor, director. Well, one time during an interview, he was asked about his first Hollywood job. And he said his first Hollywood job was for a local fried chicken shack, dressing like a chicken, standing on the curb trying to attract customers. And after a day or a week, he said he was going to quit. That's how it started. Then he thought, you know what? My job right now is a chicken. I'm going to be the best chicken there ever was. And he put his heart and soul into being this amazing chicken. And here's how it's going, obviously, Oscar-winning actor and director. Here's how it started. Summer of 2000, I got a call from Patty Gasparini, come in for an interview. I told her I was working at Camp Riverbend, so I'd be in shorts and a t-shirt, and was that okay? She said, sure. So I went in, I interviewed, and it must have been my skinny, white meat chicken legs that convinced Patty, because somehow I got hired. Fast forward a year, and my first year was okay, but I thought about changing careers again. But then I thought, you know what, this is my job, and like George Clooney, I'm going to be the best that I can be. And that's what I've been doing for the past 20-something years, fucking around in front of my classroom, being the best chicken that I can be. And how it's going is that I'm up here for the third time. One of my favorite magazines is Esquire magazine, and they have a section called What I've Learned. which is pieces of advice from a celebrity that they're interviewing, told in like bullet points or quick tidbits. Here's what I've learned. You can only be teacher of the year if you have students of the year. None of which are here tonight, as my daughter would say, that's awkward. My class this year was amazing though, and I want to thank them for making me laugh every day, especially the frustrating days. After 23 years, you may start to copy and paste your lessons, but you can't copy and paste your students. Each student every year is unique and you need to embrace it. I learned that you need to believe in your students. It's easy for them to be brave when they know someone believes in them. I learned that when you become a grown-up, people stop asking you what your favorite dinosaur is. They don't even care. You guys don't even care. Fifth graders care. They want to know. I love that. And by the way, it's Ankylosaurus. In teaching, there's no faking it. You have to give your audience, your students, everything you have with every fiber of your being. And you'll get it back 10 times greater. Even when I'm having a bad day, I see the kids coming down from the hall from lunch, and I'm dreading the afternoon. They walk into class, they high-five me, they're smiling, they toss their lunch boxes. Hey, Mr. Waller, what are you doing this afternoon? And I feel that connection, that magic, and all that dread is gone. I learned that the one time you actually sit at your desk is the moment an administrator comes in for an observation. I also learned the day after an observation is an unofficial dress down day because no one's coming in your room. Teaching is like being a sports coach, but you're coaching 8 different sports at the same time. And each sport has its superstars and bench warmers, but you have to use them equally in every game, and you should. But mostly, my last tidbit is that it's a teacher's job. The main thing we should be doing for our students is give them the feeling that they can achieve anything. That's literally our job. Our job is to convince them they're the best player in the league and to start acting like it. I'm in an old man softball league, like about 15 years now. And I'm a Gold Glove second baseman. I'll get you a single. I'll maybe stretch it into a double. I've never hit a home run. I'm not that guy. Until 2 weeks ago. I hit my first legit home run. It was a beautiful opposite field line drive past the right fielder, who, of course, was playing in when he saw me come up. I legged it out, play at the plate, safe. My teammates high-fived me, picked me up, put me down, and then when they went about their business. For them, a nice moment. For me, a moment I will never forget. Just ask my family. I haven't stopped sending them home run memes since it happened. And that's what we have to do for our students. We have to set them up to hit that home run. They'll remember it, and we'll carry them until their next one. I want to thank Mrs. Nardi. You are exactly what I need for a boss at this point in my career. You're kind, you're chill, you got my back. I respect you and I appreciate you. Thank you to my 5th grade team for doing the paperwork I'm not so good at. I mean, for working cooperatively, right? Thank you to Jen Cassidy, who's my foxhole buddy. I'll go to battle with her any day. And thank you to my family for letting me tell you all the funny stuff about my students, even though I know you'd rather just be on your phones. Thank you.
Congratulations. And now from Columbia Middle School, Christina Froelich. Christina Froelich has 13 years of service and dedication to the students of Berkeley Heights Public Schools. Ms. Froelich earned her bachelor's degree from the University of Virginia, majoring in environmental science. She also has a master's in secondary science education. Principal Paul Kabliska shared that Ms. Froelich started her educational journey at Columbia Middle School in the fall of 2009. 10 years into her journey, she has been consistently recognized by her peers and the school administration as a master teacher. During these years, she was tapped to serve as a mentor for new teachers. She was chosen to pilot our Open SciEd pedagogy and curriculum, and she was selected to the teacher leadership cohort in 2019. Her students and colleagues speak very highly of her, and everyone points out how Mrs. Froelich selfishly gives her time and talents to everyone she comes in contact with. In closing, Ms. Froelich has pointed out that the connection she forges with students and colleagues mean the most to her. Education is definitely important, but our connections are priceless. Congratulations, Miss Christina Froelich. Will you please come up? Ms. Torero from Columbia Middle School, will you come up?
Sorry. Mrs. Froelich is an incredible teacher and inspires her students every day. She challenges her students to embrace science and tries to make science fun and educational. She is a dedicated teacher and goes above and beyond. As an advisor and mentor to the students of the CMS robotics team, Mrs. Froelich encourages them to make a lasting impact on the world. On behalf of the PTO, students, staff, and parents alike, we congratulate you on Educator of the Year at Columbia Middle School. Thank you for all you do for our children.
I'm tempted to start this speech like I'd start most of my classes. Greetings, scientists. Happy Monday. However, given the formality of this occasion, I'll refrain. Good evening, Dr. Varley, Dr. Greer, Mrs. Kopaz, the Board of Education, administration, fellow teachers, students, family, and friends. I am honored to be recognized tonight as Columbia Middle School's Educator of the Year. Let me fill you in on a common occurrence for myself, and I guess for most of the other middle school teachers here in the auditorium tonight. Whenever I'm introducing myself to someone new, be it at the soccer field, the dentist office, or at a party, this is the standard conversation. So Christina, what do you do? Oh, I'm a middle school teacher. Instantly, the look on their face goes from a smile to one of disgust, horror, or general bewilderment. This is typically followed by a comment like, oh, wow, or I hated middle school. The hormones, or I could never do that. But here's the thing. There's a magic to middle school, a magic that most people don't often recognize, a magic that I've been blessed to have in my life for the past 14 years. For me, middle school is the perfect sweet spot where I get to have fun with my students while also teaching them real stuff. My middle schoolers are down to play Would You Rather Monday as a class each week. They laugh at my weekly Friday jokes, even when we know they are all far from funny. We're fiercely competitive in advisory challenges like Keepy Uppy and a photo scavenger hunt. I learn all the newest dances and TikTok trends without ever having to look at my phone. And they sing along to my Disney ukulele thinking music. We also have the opportunity to dig deep into challenging scientific concepts. My 7th graders have diagnosed a fictional sick student with celiac disease by analyzing endoscopy images and food absorption data. They accurately model the function of a protein that leads to huge muscles in cows and other animals. We've traced back the ancestry of ancient penguins to an enormous penguin, fondly known as Pedro, whose remains were found in Peru. I've watched the robotics club members code robots to do a number of challenges with Legos in ways that I had never thought to try. As magical as my students are, the heart of the magic lies in each and every teacher and staff member who calls CMS their home. When I first applied to work at CMS, Berkeley Heights was just a point on a map that seemed close enough to New York City, where my then fiance was going to be taking his first job. When I packed up my life in Virginia to come here, I never could have guessed the family that would have embraced me here at CMS. From Jeremy Marks, who stumbled with me through our first year during a time that I affectionately now think of my baby stage as teaching, to the group of 8th grade teachers who welcomed me with open arms as part of their team, especially Carol Felice, who quickly took me under her wing as a mentor and a friend. To the 7th grade team who embraced me after many years of teaching 8th grade, Belinda and Dawn, we will always bleed blue. The invaluable co-teachers that have enhanced my own teaching and improved the experience of all students in my class. Rebecca, Roberta, Teresa, Megan, you are all superhumans. To my own mentee, who I now consider my mentor, Tommy Clayton.
Thank you for continuing to inspire me to do better and push the envelope each and every day. For everyone else at CMS who I failed to mention, thank you for being my family and making CMS magical for all who walk through its doors. As a special thank you to my own family, thank you, Andrew, my husband, who's always open to listening about the antics of my middle school students, who encourages me when I feel like I'm missing the mark at school or at home, and who knows how much this profession means to me. To my two little girls, Anna and Chelsea, thank you for being a daily reminder of how important great teachers are to ensure a better future for all, and for all the laughs you bring to my life. And finally, to my own mom, who herself was a teacher and has served as the ultimate example to me for how I want to move through this life. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations. And now, moving to Governor Livingston, Lindsay Mirabella has been a teacher in the Berkeley Heights Public Schools since September of 2010. She teaches English 2, music and lyrics, roots and rhythm, and English strategies at Governor Livingston High School. She earned a Bachelor's of Arts degrees in both English and education from the College of New Jersey. She also has a master's in education from the College of New Jersey. Mr. Nixon said that Lindsay Mirabella is a truly exceptional educator. When you enter her class, you immediately know that you're in an environment that expertly supports learning. Lindsay blends firm expectations with great care and support. Lindsay's preparation is the key to her students' success. In addition to her great work in the classroom, Lindsay supports our school community by serving as the chair of the 9 through 12 Council on Instruction. We are so proud of Lindsay, who is an alumni of Governor Livingston, and look forward to seeing her continue the tradition of excellence on the Hill. Lindsay is described by her colleagues as caring toward all students, incredibly knowledgeable about her content area, and attentive to every student's individual needs. She is always available to offer extra help and strategies to struggling learners, as well as one-on-one meetings for students who wish to discuss strategies for various difficulties they may be having. Lindsay Mirabella is an exceptional teacher who we are lucky to work with. She deserves to be recognized as Governor Livingston's Educator of the Year. Congratulations, Ms. Mirabella. Will you please come up? Ms. Dooley, will you come up, please?
Good evening. On behalf of the Governor Livingston High School PTO, we recognize the challenges of teaching in a high school. The challenge of engaging teams while also encouraging them to push themselves. That embodies Lindsay Mirabella. She knows how to do this well, and it's appreciated by students and parents alike. The GLPTO is very excited to congratulate you on Educator of the Year. Thank you so much for all you do.
Good evening, Dr. Varley, Dr. Greer, Mrs. Kopaz, the members of the Board of Education, colleagues, family, and friends. I'm incredibly humbled and grateful for this recognition. I consider it an honor to teach at Governor Livingston, a place that has given me so much as both a student and a professional. As such, I need to thank Mr. Nixon, Mrs. Bartlett, Mr. Finley, Ms. Scott, and my talented co-teachers and colleagues. Work doesn't feel like a grind when you love the other people who work there. GL is such a special place because it really feels like a community. It was not until I started teaching here that I truly began to understand what it means to collaborate with others. And I know without a doubt that I am better for all of the influence and contributions of my fellow educators. Whatever success I have with my students is the result of a combined team effort. So thank you all. The most important thank you, however, goes to my loving and supportive family. My parents, you both fostered my love and appreciation of reading and made me feel like I was capable of anything. My husband, Mike, you are always there for me with unwavering support. An excellent educator in your own right, you are my sounding board for any and all ideas, concerns, and triumphs. I really don't think I would be the teacher I am without you.
my girls, McKenna and Emmy, you both have taught me so much about how to be a good teacher. And as much as I love being a teacher, coming home to be with you is my favorite part of the day. When I graduated college, one of my professors gave me a gift. It was a framed quote by renowned teacher and child psychologist Hayam Ganat. He stated, "I am the decisive element in the classroom. It's my personal approach that creates the climate. It's my daily mood that makes the weather. As a teacher, I possess a tremendous power to make a child's life miserable or joyous. In all situations, it is my response that decides whether a crisis will be escalated or de-escalated, and a child humanized or dehumanized." That framed quote sits on my desk, and I think about it all the time. The idea that as the teacher, I carry an immense responsibility for my students' sense of self has always resonated with me. And as I've thought of this quote over time, I've grown to appreciate it as being particularly relevant for me in my role as an English teacher. Because I think when you boil it down, that is the job of an English teacher, to humanize. To not only make students feel valued and important, but also to deepen their understanding of humanity and their place within it. The novels, articles, poems, short stories, and song lyrics that we're reading, the analytical, reflective, and creative writing we're doing, it all serves that ultimate goal. I believe that goal is best accomplished by helping students discover meaning in what they read. And to that end, I've always felt that the most meaningful reading experiences are those that act like windows. Good literature is like a window because it lets you see a part of the world that exists beyond your walls, while also allowing you to see a little bit of your own reflection. In other words, good literature gives you both perspective and validation. These are two things that I think we could always use more of in our world, because if we're able to gain perspective through reading other people's stories, it helps us develop empathy. And if we're able to find a little bit of ourselves in writing through a character or situation, it helps us feel seen and understood. Even better is when both those things happen simultaneously. When you're reading about someone who may be very different from you in many different ways, but you still feel connected to them because their experience is in some way reflective of your own. I want to conclude by addressing and thanking one more important group of people, my students. To my students, past, present, and future, even the ones who might not love English class as much or who might feel it's not their strength, especially to those students. It is for you. It's for everyone. Any positive feeling or experience that you take away from literature is significant. It is my hope and my daily goal that you read something that expands your perspective and helps you feel validated, because that's truly what it's all about. Thank you.
Congratulations to all of our educators of the year. We're now going to turn the meeting over to our retirees. We have 10 employees who are retiring during the 22-23 school year. Congratulations on your retirement, and thank you for your dedication to the students, staff, and communities of Berkeley Heights and Mountainside. You have worked very hard to earn this milestone. You will be missed, but I am excited about your new journey. I wish you good health, happiness, and success as you move forward into the next chapter of your life. It is now time to revisit that bucket list. Please come up when I read your name and to receive your plaque. Mary Beth Kopaz. I am going to read everyone's name, even though they may not be attending. Congratulations. Josephine Morrison. Teresa DiMartino. Teresa was a teacher of Italian and French at both Columbia Middle School and Governor Livingston High School. She was hired in September of 2007 with 16 years of service. Teresa DiMartino. If you want to take the bag with you, you can. Yes. Beryl Roman, teacher of health and PE at Governor Livingston High School, hired in February of 2003, 20 years of service. Todd Decker, teacher of social studies at Governor Livingston High School, hired in September of 2001 with 22 years of service. Geraldine Moore, teacher of art at Governor Livingston High School, hired in September of 1999, 23 years of service. She's not here. Stephen Tarocco, teacher of mathematics at Governor Livingston High School, hired in September of 2000, 23 years of service. Catherine Avino, media specialist at Governor Livingston High School, hired in September 1999 with 24 years of service. Renee Curcio, she's not attending. Administrative assistant at Governor Livingston High School, hired in October of 1997 with 25 years of service. Annette Milos, administrative assistant at Governor Livingston High School, after transferring from the regional high school, hired in July of 1997 with 26 years of service. Congratulations on a well-deserved retirement. If we can get the retirees to come up and we will take a picture of you guys. If you want to have your picture taken, come up and we'll get a picture.
Service. I agree.
Yeah, oh, there's yours. I'm stealing your glasses. Yeah, somebody will take care of that. All right, I'm now going to introduce Mr. Dennis DeGunas. He's going to give us a real quick, and I promise quick, presentation on STEAM and the future of STEAM and STEM in Berkeley Heights Public Schools. By the way, thanks to Amy Wartell and the Family and Consumer Science classes for the snacks back in the background. Please grab a snack. There are lots of snacks back there.
Check, check.
Good evening. I just wanted to thank everybody for staying around, and while I was going to congratulate the retirees and the teachers of the year, but they're gone. Dr. Varley had asked me to do a quick little presentation on some of the things that I've been involved with since I've been here for the last 6 months. Yes, sir. So one of the things we did in March, we received the Climate Change New Jersey grant of $6,660. And with that money, we were able to use that to implement some climate change curriculum throughout the school district. So we purchased a bunch of products that we can implement through K through 12. We purchased climate change models for elementary schools, solar panel cars. We purchased wind and hydroelectric power models for the students. We also purchased CO2, dissolved oxygen, humidity testers that were on our teachers' want list in the district. These tools will be used by students to gather and interpret data as it pertains to climate change through our hands-on experiences. We also received two $500 Union County dig-in grants. The Union County Board of County Commissioners distributed grants to 94 schools through funding from the Union County Plant a Seed Initiative. This initiative aims to support nutrition, sustainability, civic service, and STEM education to help foster community connections. So 2 schools received those grants of $500. There's going to be a team that's going to come out to CMS in a couple of weeks, and they're going to look at our rain garden and see what we're doing with our $500. Catherine Zhao, she stole some of my thunder, which is great. Catherine Zhao and her We STEM group, Women in Science, Women in STEM Club, along with their advisor, Mrs. Nostak, wanted to create a day to showcase various STEAM projects for middle schoolers. They wanted to promote the STEM field to female students, hoping to inspire young girls to take some of the classes we offer at GL. They planned it. They ran the event on May 22nd at the middle school. The GL students moved 35 CMS participants through 5 different stations demonstrating various activities such as physics in motion, breadboards and Arduinos. They had a prosthetic hand, solar cars, wind turbines. So the kids would just move around through these different various stations. During lunch, they also had the 2 guest speakers come from Nokia to present to the students as well. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about this event, there was a TAP article that was recently published on this event. And then we also had our climate symposium. Catherine had talked a little bit about that. That happened a couple of weeks ago as well. This was something that I introduced to my former district, and I brought it here, where we had the kids, we had 9 AP classes and 160 students were involved in this climate symposium. So what this is if you look at this, we have our simulator here. The students were introduced to our climate simulator. And if you look at the top right-hand corner, it says plus 3.6 degrees Celsius. So that's the temperature where the world is supposed to reach by the year 2100. So the objective of this was to move the various sliders. If you can look and you can see on the simulator there's various sliders that indicate like transportation, energy use. So the objective of this is to move those sliders and to see through various policy changes how this would ultimately affect that temperature. So these 9 AP classes, 160 students took place in our symposium. Students were placed in various groups such as clean tech, developing nations, developed nations, farming, banking, conventional energy. The students need to work within their groups. They also had to represent their constituents, but they had to work with the other groups as well to move those various sliders to hope to reduce the overall increase in the global climate by the year 2100. The students were able to see moving some of these sliders didn't have the dramatic effect that they expected. And they needed to work together and kind of drill down into these parts of the simulator to make effective policy changes. We ran 4 different 3-hour symposiums over the course of 2 days. And again, the goal was to reduce that temperature from 3.6 to below 2. It was a huge undertaking, and none of this would be possible without the collaborative work of our AP teachers. And a special thanks to Laura Mendenhall. Like, I thought I did a good job of this when I did it at my school, and Laura just did above and beyond. Fantastic job. We also were able to bring in a proctor to help proctor this event. His name was Mr. Fisher, and he did it for the low price of free. So that was very nice. That's more pictures of our climate symposium. We are having our lunch and learn events. So last week we're at our first lunch and learn event. We had Mr. Lizovsky. He came in, he talked to our kids about being a structural engineer. This week, June 7th, on Wednesday, we'll have Mr. Stephen Rogowski, our electrical engineer. He's going to come in and talk to our students about what it means to be an electrical engineer. In the fall, I have a planned site visit to Rutgers to look at their biomedical engineering labs. And I'm reaching out to a former student of mine who is actually an astrophysicist who works with or is part of Space Force. So I'm trying to see if his schedule will work. We're going to get him to come and talk to our students as well. In our art department, recently we had 60 middle school students on May 17th participate in the Union County Teen Art Show. And on May 18th, we had 120 of our high school students in that same art show as well. And this is an opportunity for the kids to showcase their art, their music, and all their other talents, practical arts, all their talents and work and skills. That was a fun event for our kids. In March, our art department worked to bring back the GL Art Festival. So we brought that back. We had over 100 pieces of art displayed that day from GL, CMS, Mountainside. And then there's a picture there of Miss Harpster and her daffodil project, remembrance of the Holocaust. On June 2nd, just last week, we had our accelerated 8th grade class present their capstone projects they worked on this year. We brought 6 GL students down to provide this group with various awards. Parents were invited this evening as well to see what their students and their classmates have been working on. Here are just a few examples of some of those projects the students designed and presented along with their research. One group in particular, they created a meat thermometer, and it was to determine the outside temperature of the meat to help reduce foodborne illnesses. Part of their project, they had to reach out to somebody in the field. So they reached out to the CEO of Robo Burger and they asked him, what do you think about our project? His response was, your project is truly impressive, going beyond what I could have accomplished at your age or what I did when I was in school. It addressed a real problem and shows great potential for improvement. Personally, I feel this kind of sums up exactly what we're trying to do here at BH. We're trying to provide our students with opportunities and skills to be good problem solvers in the future. Some potential projects for next year. Again, I want to meet with or bring those kids to Rutgers to introduce them to the biomedical engineers there. We're looking at doing a climate change lunch and read. So we're going to we're looking at getting a book that has to deal with Cli-Fi, which is a new kind of genre of science fiction book that talks about the effects of a futuristic society dealing with climate change. And I'm looking to potentially do a second chance fashion show promoting breathing life into new clothes, exploring the issues of climate change in the fashion industry as well. And then for next year, continuing to provide unique STEAM opportunities for our students, ensure that STEAM courses and opportunities are accessible to all our students, foster opportunities for our students to inquire, create, and engage in authentic real-world problem-based learning, and design innovative learning spaces to make sure these opportunities are available to the students. Again, none of these things could happen without the support and dedication of our administrator, our students, our staff, and the teachers involved as well. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry.
All right, do any of the board members have any questions for Mr. Dugu regarding? Yeah.
What, yeah, maybe just a question about, well, first of all, this is incredible. So thank you, and appreciate the detailed presentation. Any conversations about, early, just conversations with Mountainside and just bringing some of this to us and vice versa? And
Yeah,
obviously,
so I want to try and work with that relationship with Mountainside to kind of see what we can do
Okay.
together.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Anybody else?
Yeah, just one, so great presentation. I'm curious on what are your thoughts on starting some of this early, like earlier than eighth grade? If I remember, does it start at eighth grade right now through the capstone project?
So we had our project, the We STEM group worked with eighth graders, but I'm thinking next year maybe we'll work with lower level classes, 6th or 7th. Yeah. And then we're going to make a connection between the elementary schools as well to try and foster some of the climate change and working with their science departments.
Great, thank you.
Anybody? Thank you very much. Great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay, I'm going to move on to committee and liaison reports. Does anybody have one, please?
Just happy to announce that the negotiations committee has brought to the table the BHEA custodian, ground and maintenance and transportation as an agenda item today for approval. So I think the group is very proud of being able to work with that group to come up with something that was mutually agreeable. So that's it. Thank you.
That's great. Anybody else?
Yes, I have a liaison for the town council. The town council invites the community to a flag raising ceremony at our town hall flagpole on Tuesday, June 13th at 6:30 for a Pride Month flag raising. The town council passed their budget and there's a lot going on, and refer to their website for additional information. The recreation committee has a lot of summer activities continuing, including our summer concert series. The Truth Community Building and Inclusion Committee. The committee wants to invite all Berkeley Heights residents to get to know their neighbors through a variety of planned activities this summer and fall. So stay tuned for that. And I have no other updates.
Thank you, Gail. Super. Anybody else?
Oh, tomorrow is the primary election, sorry, also. So if you haven't voted by mail, make sure you vote, and it will be here.
When do the polls open?
7? Yes, I'm looking at you.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Liaison or committee report?
I have a question actually,
Sure.
but I think I need to wait for Dr.
Dr.
Varley
Varley
to come back. Yeah.
Does
Or-
anybody have something else in the meantime? No?
So I'll tell you what my question is.
What do you
It
want?
looks like we've changed our CMS mascot from CMS Tigers to like CMS Highlanders. Is that new? Did I miss the announcement?
Question for you, Dr. Varley.
This
Just
one's an
the
easy one.
question for you.
Did we change the CMS mascot or like, did we go from CMS Tigers to CMS Highlanders?
Yes, they are, it was, the PTO helped sponsor the event, and now Columbia Middle School will be known as the Highlanders.
Got it. Good.
All right.
Start early.
Anybody else have a committee or liaison report? No? Okay, thank you, everybody. Julie, board communication, please.
Okay, we've received several items. A Berkeley Heights staff member emailed some clarification on librarian duties at Central Columbia Middle School. A community member requested the district wear orange in support of gun violence prevention. A community member wrote asking the district to change the date of this board meeting. A vendor emailed all of the board members about staffing services. A community member sent an email about the evaluation of the superintendent. One community member sent 12 emails about high school, elementary, and middle school rankings, including questions about proficiency tests, scores, various reasons for ranking decline, as well as comparative data over different years and among other districts.
Okay, and Julie, do you have a report?
Yes,
Thank
just
you.
very briefly.
Okay.
Just another reminder, the school board election, there will be 2 Board of Education seats up for election on Tuesday, November 7th, each to serve for a 3-year term. The candidate nominating petitions have to be filed with the County Clerk of Union by Monday, July 1st before 4 p.m. And I just want to point out some very generous donations that are occurring or have occurred throughout this school year. The Berkeley Heights Education Foundation provided donations of various gifts and grants totaling $36,250 during the 22-23 school year. We will be accepting a fireworks donation from Garden State Fireworks for the Governor Livingston High School graduation on June 16th. And we will be accepting a donation from Fiserv for $10,000 for Columbia Middle School. And there are some surprises planned by Mr. Kabliska, so we don't want to give that away, but he's engaging in a district-wide initiative to try to bring more togetherness and kindness in the next school year. So we look forward to seeing what he has planned. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Okay. Okay, now we are at comments from the public on agenda items. During this portion of the meeting, district residents and staff are invited to address the Board of Education on agenda action items only. The board requests that individuals state their name and town of residence or school of attendance for the record. All comments should be directed to the board president, and depending on the nature and complexity of the question, it may or may not be answered during the meeting by the administration. If so, the response would occur after this public portion of the meeting has concluded. Although the board may not respond to the items used during the public forum, all public comments will be considered. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Specific comments regarding personnel matters are discouraged and cannot be responded to by the board. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. The board bears no responsibility, nor will it be liable for any comments made by members of the public. Please note that if any member of the public becomes disruptive during the meeting, the board president may terminate the participant's statement. Continued disruptions may result in removal from or adjournment of the meeting. Each speaker's statement will be limited to 3 minutes in duration. Thank you. Please come up. Thank you.
Hi, Susan Pogue, Woodruff, 12 Eaton Court, Berkeley Heights. So I won Teacher of the Year twice. Sorry. And the theater is just such a more pleasant environment for this kind of event. The teachers were all dressed up and formal, and like if you can see what it looks like over here, even if I don't know, do something. You know, for so many years, a kid filmed it. So I'm hoping you guys can reconsider next year to make it a little more festive and formal for the teachers. I know they put a lot of heart and soul in not just their work, but their speeches. And, you know, the aesthetics here just weren't so great. So just to think about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to come and address the board on agenda items only, please?
Hello, Natasha Jolly, 60 Orion Road. So for the agenda items, there is, on the agenda, there is an approval for the 12K for the Oprah custodian for Mr. Hopkins. And I'm just wondering if there is this, you know, where the onslaught of Oprah requests are. And if there's also, I think on the agenda, an approval of a jobs manual Will the director of, social studies and world languages, would that job description also include an Oprah custodian? What exactly is the role of the school district liaison to the library board? For the central office, you published the new salaries. Can you please also publish what each role is, like who's doing what? I don't know if the BoE members actually know who's doing what. It's just a list of names with salaries. And will those roles also be included in this jobs manual? I mean, I'm assuming that to understand what this jobs manual is, but maybe after further discussion, maybe maybe it's not what it is that I think it is. Also, what is the 95% core program? It's a quite hefty program. I know it's being paid with ESSER funds, but just wondering, what it is. Is it like an electronic thing? Is it, outside of school people coming in to help the kids? I'd just like to know. It's an $88,000 program. So just wondering if perhaps funds could have been used for other items. I think that's it. Thank you.
Anybody else like to address the board on agenda items, please?
Testing. John McGuez, Berkeley Heights. I'm just stating my opposition to the Oprah custodian. The district stopped publishing Oprah requests on the website. I'm wondering why that is. When the district was doing that, it gave the public evidence to evaluate the need for this position. That practice has stopped, and so we can't evaluate further whether or not the demand or on that position justifies. So, and it also stops the public from looking at what the public is asking for. So I would request that, I would ask you not to vote for the Oprah custodian position. And I would ask that the district please start publishing the Oprah requests again. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else like to come up and address the board on agenda items? No? Okay. Dr. Varley or Julie, do any of you have any answers for those questions? Any of those questions?
So it's a job descriptions manual. It's required by the state of New Jersey. So every job that is in this district, we must have a job description. So as far as the Oprah custodian being under the world language supervisor and supervisor of social studies, this is we hope, a temporary position. So we wouldn't include that in the job description. It is a separate job description that is in the manual. And Mary Beth, do you want to talk about the 95 core program?
Yes, thank you. As part of the curriculum cycle, every 5 years, we look at a different content area and focus on that content area. This year is in the elementary world, we focused on word study. And by word study, there really are 4 parts to it, or 5 parts, I should say: phonological and phonemic awareness, phonics, spelling. So not only decoding, but also encoding, vocabulary, and fluency. So the program is a resource that will not only be for teachers, it is a print resource that will not only be for teachers to teach students these areas, making them stronger readers and writers, but also the students will have resources as well. So you will see materials, you'll see workbooks and materials. So before this, we had pockets of resources in different schools and in different grades, but this is the first time that we will have a core program for grades K through 5 across all the schools to address all of these areas systematically, and it's tied to the science of reading. And the other reason that we are allowed to use ESSER funds is because it's a level 1 research-based program. Our word study committee, after a year of exploration and looking at 11 different programs, this was the program that the word study committee recommended for choosing for September.
I just wanted to say that the next item on the agenda, the Hegarty program, is also part of this curriculum. So they go hand in hand together. So that way we could make sure that we got all of our students from pre-K all the way until fifth.
Thank you for asking that question. We also have the pre-K program, which is our Hegarty program, really focusing on phonological and phonemic awareness. The reason it's separate is because we are not using ESSER funds for that program. So that program, I believe, is a little over $3,000 for all of our pre-K, K1 and 2. The other thing that I forgot to mention is that Mountainside is also will also be adopting. They're all already using Hegarty, but they will also be adopting 95% core as well. So we did it in conjunction, and they were part of the word study committee throughout the entire year. It was really a nice collaboration.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to move on to agenda items. So minutes. I need a motion to approve the minutes, which is resolution A for all board members, but it's minutes for the executive session, minutes for May 11, and also for regular session minutes for May 11. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the second. Was it Robert?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Robert?
It was me. Yes,
Okay.
second.
You said second?
Yes.
Okay.
You did.
All right. Do we have any discussion? No, did he say no? Okay. Sorry, I thought Tom was going to speak. It looked like he was taking the mic. All right, sorry, roll call.
Ms. Bradford,
Yes.
Mr. Chanchuli.
Yes.
Dr. Forger,
Yes.
Mr. Hyman,
Abstain. I did not attend May 11th.
Mrs. Khanna,
Yes.
Mrs. Stanley,
Yes.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mrs. Penna.
Yes. Okay, so resolution A, all board members. Do I have a motion to approve? To approve appointment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I would like to have a discussion. This is on the approval for an appointment.
Yes.
Yes. As I understand, this was a temporary appointment for 3.5 months. And Ms. Cott, you were very kind to answer some of my questions. Can you review what you told me, or should I just say what you told me, or?
No, I'm happy to share the information.
Thank
So Mr. Hopkins has taken over since February 13th. So in that roughly 3.5 month period, he has received 44 OPA requests. He is trying to accomplish 3 OPA requests a week. It takes him between 5 and 18 hours to do 1 OPA request, depending on the complexity of the request, including duration of period requested, amount of redactions. He's certainly taking extra care at this point in time to do the redactions and so forth. So that was the information that I was able to share with you. So our hope, of course, is that the volume of OPA requests that we receive can come in line with OPA requests received in other districts. And I had certainly reached out to other districts to see what their volume was. Ours remains substantially higher than any of the surrounding districts. And so the need persists for this to continue on. I think there was another item I mentioned to you, and I can't remember
Can
what.
you tell me about the email logs too?
Oh,
How are
yeah.
those?
So those were particularly burdensome, and since
So these are OPA requests for email logs.
OPA requests for email logs that I had shared in executive session, showing what it looks like and the level of detail and the painstaking redactions and how they have to be done manually. Fortunately, for the time being anyway, since Mr. Hopkins took over, there have not been any requests for those email logs, which is helping him in terms of volume, but there's still a significant amount.
And I understand that Mr. Hopkins is being especially careful now in terms of the redaction and what is going
Yes.
out.
As we all are apt to do, there was human error in a set of documents that he sent out. And that was brought to the entire board's attention. And so he's doing extra due diligence on the redactions and double checking his work before he sends things out to try to avoid such a mistake in future.
And can you tell me why this isn't going to be absorbed by our department?
Yes. So a couple different items, of course. The volume is large, but unfortunately, and you'll see on tonight's agenda, our payroll person resigned and her last day in district was either the 24th or the 25th of May. We had scheduled and hired and you had approved another person to come in and take that position starting May 31st. Unfortunately, over the Memorial Day weekend, that person rescinded their acceptance, and now we have no one to fill the payroll role. So we were actually currently short a person, which means there has to be some shifting of workload and people all over taking on, including myself, taking on additional responsibility to carry the load until we can find a suitable replacement. You'll also see an item on the agenda. There is a para-professional that we have asked and has shown interest in trying to learn or at least assist us in the summer for about 29.5 hours a week if we can utilize her to assist with payroll or other tasks in the office to relieve the burden. If that is not a good fit for either or both of us, she will return to being a paraprofessional and we will be at ground zero again looking for a payroll person. So that is obviously everybody comes to work, they love it, but they want to get paid. And so having good, strong payroll person, we are fortunate that we have the person who used to do payroll is still in the office and is able to train people. Otherwise, this would be quite a disaster. And payroll in a district with 475 teachers and monthly pay timesheets and so forth is an arduous task. So we have to keep our eye on that when we make these decisions. So the other point would be just sending all of these items to the attorneys. And that would, of course, be far more expensive than the $1,000 a month stipend.
So we're still looking at this as a temporary position.
We continue to monitor the volume.
Monitor
Yeah.
the volume in comparison to other districts' requests. And that's
Yes.
what we're,
Through either my own experience and I did survey districts in Union before we brought this to the table initially back in December, January.
thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I was just wondering.
Robert, were you first? I'm sorry. My
Yeah,
apologies.
it's Robert.
Go ahead,
Sophia,
Tom.
and then-
Please be my guest. I like that you're keeping.
Sorry, Robert, go ahead.
No, please. Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you for yielding.
True collaboration.
Don't often get to say that if you're not in Congress. What is the backlog on Oprah's right now? How many outstanding requests are there?
I don't know. Mr. Hopkins would have to provide that information for you.
Okay.
No, Robert.
I was just gonna ask, because I hear volume of Oprahs and I always think number. We're also really looking at the amount of time and complexity and maybe the information isn't necessarily complex, but perhaps the steps are.
Indeed. So
Go
not
ahead.
to cut you off, but
ahead.
so the difference between, say, a permit request that the town may ask, someone may Oprah the town for, a sheet or two of paper with really nothing that needs to be redacted. And maybe a better system than we have. We do have a Google free Google email, Gmail. And the searching for emails, if someone is requesting an email, the searches themselves of the vault can be very time consuming as I knew, but Mr. Hopkins also mentioned it to me recently. That is a very painstaking part of it. And then, of course, printing those documents once you actually identify them and have done the search, hopefully in the broadest terms to gather everything, printing them and then sifting through them and doing the redactions and then doing them a second time. The issue with the email logs, while there may be one request for an email log, that request could have been 115 pages of that tiny multi-box report that I had shown you. And so while that would be one Oprah, that could take, 20 hours to work on and to do properly and get out with the letter and so forth and documenting it. So that's a good piece of that's happening, but yes. So in general, the requests are not simple. They are not just, we would like one piece of paper or one document. They all generally require quite a bit of searching the vault and trying to even identify the documents that would be responsive and then printing them out and then manually redacting them from there.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Cott? Oh, I'm sorry.
So listening to everything that you just mentioned, it clearly sounds like a lot of work. I'm actually concerned that we are putting Mr. Hopkins back in this position, given that he actually has a day job and an important day job within the district as it relates to the students and their achievement. Is there a reason why he is being put into this position and not somebody else?
He applied for the job and he was the best applicant. And he advised me that he would like to continue on doing it.
I get he applied for the job. I'm asking, when you look at the school district, the people that are directly responsible for students, their learning, their achievement, putting somebody in that position to perform the role of an Oprah custodian and to the level of detail that Julie just talked about, it's a little concerning.
It should be concerning for anyone. It should be concerning for any administrator.
Okay, Gail.
This is not unique to our Berkeley Heights School District. Is that correct?
I am aware of a couple other districts that are getting a high volume, not in Union County, but there are a few scattered instances that I've been made aware of. And I know one district in particular, we were told they hired an assistant BA, a second assistant BA who just do Oprah requests.
Do you know if our New Jersey State Legislature is doing anything to help us deal with the requests?
I have heard that they are. I have not seen action. So I can't say one way or another. I think they may be mistakenly focusing on vendors. I think that their approach is they're worried about vendors who occasionally you'll get a vendor request. They're looking for your lists of staff so they can spam everybody and tell you how great their services are and their products and so forth. And I think the legislature is trying to put a stop to that, particularly requests that come from out of state. Those are the things I've heard. So it'll be interesting if they do address this.
Thank you. Is there any, oh, sorry, Jordan.
I was just gonna ask, Julie, you said it was 44 or 34?
44 in the 3.5 months that he's
So
been doing.
since he took on
Yeah.
the temporary post, and do you know what that brings the total to for like the trailing 12 months? Or for the school
No,
year?
so, and just to the other point, no, I don't. I kept track for that 6.5, 7 month period. I had 124, which I certainly shared with all of you, which required 159 responses. And those are all posted on the website. When Mr. Hopkins took over, of course, it's completely discretionary that he posts those items on the website or not. And he's chosen not to do that.
Joy.
No, I'm gonna forget my question. Is there any like software? I mean, I know that would require an investment, but that would allow the process to go any faster.
The difficulty is, there's student identities in emails, so it is complicated.
A lot of redaction.
And I don't know, what the ability for us to utilize that in terms of in conjunction with like a free Gmail account or something like that. I think maybe the attorney's office has some kind of software. We could ask them how much it was or something like that. I don't know. But it's difficult because it's different.
She said no.
Okay. Not only, there's different types of identifying information. It's not just somebody's name. So It's a human process.
Sorry, one last question, Julie. For all of the requests that have come in the last, I don't know, 6 months, 3 months, pick your duration. Is there information that we can proactively post that will reduce the requirement for an OPRA?
I think that's unlikely. They want emails. As Dr. Barley said in executive session, we can't post 3,000 emails a day to our website.
Okay, so if there's no more discussion, I'd like to take a roll call, please.
Ms. Bradford,
Yes.
Mr. Chanchuli,
Yes.
Dr. Forger,
No.
Mr. Hyman,
Yes.
Mrs. Khanna,
No.
Mrs. Stanley,
Yes.
Mrs. Young, Mrs. Penna,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay, moving on to administration. Before I ask for a motion to be approved, I want to just read a walk-in resolution, which I'm adding in as EI for Berkeley Heights members only, which would be under HIB item E. So let me read the resolution.
Oh, wait a minute, are we? I think we're under administration.
Are we?
Yes.
Yeah, but we put it under that,
Administration,
didn't
yeah.
we? We put it under
Oh.
administration.
Oh,
We put it under E, under the
E.
superintendent's
I'm sorry,
report
thank you.
for HIB. Okay, so let me read it. I'm adding it, Tom, I'm adding it under HIB. I'm adding it as item E1. Okay, it's just for Berkeley Heights. So resolved that the Board of Education affirm the superintendent's decision regarding HIB investigation number 242126 MPE 020320023. Okay, now I'm going to ask. So I need a motion to approve resolution A through M. Item E1 will be for Berkeley Heights members only. The rest, A through N, will be for all board members.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
okay, any discussion?
I had one quick question. And sorry, this may have been covered last meeting that I was not present for. Under policy 0144, this is under for second reading. Just, I was curious on from board member orientation and training. Are we referring to the training that we've done in the first couple of meetings? Like, will that satisfy this policy is the question? Okay. Okay.
It's New Jersey School Board Association training.
Okay. My thinking was, would it require the training that we typically take as individuals digitally, which sometimes you can't control when that's ready to take, et cetera.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I also was just going to comment, sorry, Robert, quickly on H. I know Catherine stepped out, but just to reiterate, I think you guys, you do great work, and I really appreciate the dignity and the time and the detail, especially Jake, that you put into the sports reports. I do think I know it's a lot of work and it's probably thankless. We get that. But thanks for, and it seems like you guys are sticking it out for the long haul. So there is a point at some point in this meeting where I think you just need to stay all the way. So I pass that to Catherine when she comes back. The offer was made, but now you're here. So you're all in. But thank you, seriously. Appreciate it.
I believe Jake would like if we got lights. That would be his thing. That's all the things he needs.
New business.
We're working on it. I would like to just also reiterate, really, thank you very much. Where did Catherine go? She got?
She
stepped out. Did she step out?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Robert, I keep messing with you. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you. And we look forward to seeing you back here next year. Sorry, Robert, go ahead.
No,
My
that's okay.
apologies.
I know you don't see me. I just wanted to take a second to genuinely thank the change for the use of the ESSER funds that's under I from that were earmarked for mental health funds. I think last month it was perhaps proposed that it be done as a 504 training, which by a law firm. Now it's been switched for doctor to provide in-district in-person training for district counselors and child study team members on the topic play therapy for anxiety and school-related behaviors, grades pre-K to 12. And I just want to thank you for using the ESSER mental health funds for something like that instead of the legal training, what I would describe as a legal training, because it would have been done by a law firm. So thank you. It means a lot that that change was made.
Okay, Catherine, oh, did you go ahead?
Not done yet. So to what Robert said, I think that was a good idea to kind of, use the funds for, I think a more fitting purpose. I do want to understand, point F, the authorize the superintendent of schools to make appointments between now and the start of the 2023-24. What specific roles or profiles would fall under that, and what are we doing?
So what happens is people decide to get jobs or their spouses move or things like that during the summer. And if we go out to interview, they have to give a 60-day notice or they would lose their certification. So every year in every district I've ever been in, the board gives me approval to hire teachers because we don't have a board meeting until August. And therefore they wouldn't start until November or December for their teaching position. And I can assure you, no one's taking a teaching position where they have to wait until November, December to start and interrupt their school year. So that's what it's for.
And
It
how
can be
many-
teachers, custodians, bus drivers, etc.
And how many positions do we have open that fall in that category where you're looking?
Right now, we have
Payroll.
payroll, but we are complete right now. Now, that doesn't mean that people choose to go elsewhere or must go elsewhere or decide to stay home. It doesn't mean that that's not going to happen. It happens every single summer. That's the reason it's on there.
So do we have this resolution every single year? Tom?
Okay, so you explained the personnel part of it, but what about the contracted services agreements? That's also part of it. What sort of contracted services would we?
It could be psychological evaluations. It could be, sometimes we have to bring people in to do, if we have an influx of special education students that we did not know about, to come in to do other types of testing, et cetera. It's all student facing positions.
But this says all contracted, this doesn't limit it. It's just all contracted services. It seems like you can do an awful lot with contracted services.
Who am I going to be contracting with if they're not dealing with
Well,
students?
that's what I'm trying to get at what this, if there's any limits to this. We've never done the contracted services. I did see we do personnel, but not contracted services.
In the end, it's for student facing individuals. We don't,
And we still approve it at the next board meeting.
to approve it. It's-
Retro.
I'm not going all willy-nilly approving random people. Like you have to approve it. It's just you post it, approve it.
Tom, the items will come on the agenda, so we will have to go through the process of approving it.
Yeah, but isn't the board sort of locked in? I mean, could they actually say no if they didn't like it without repercussions to the board?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just not comfortable with the contracted services part of it. And I have not seen that before. Are you sure we've done that before?
We've done it before. We've done it before. Gail, did you have, sorry, you had a question.
Dr. Varley, I just want to add on, would this include, let's say we had a large amount of fourth grade students move into our district, hiring another teacher to keep class sizes within our guidelines?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, Catherine, you disappeared to the bathroom. So and I don't know if Jordan had an opportunity.
you go
to speak
first
to
this
you.
time.
So we just wanted to say thank you very much for your service. You do a fantastic report and we really are going to miss you. And we wish you all the best at MIT and we know you're going to do great things. So thank you very much.
And we're really proud of
Yeah,
you
we are.
stepping up,
Absolutely.
both of you. And also just sometimes we kind of put you on the spot too, and you give us your opinions and we really, really appreciate that GL has a voice at the table. So we hope that you continue to use it, Jake, and we hope that you continue to use the bravery that you've gotten here, Catherine, in the future.
Jordan, you want-
Come back and talk to the students too. Once you go, invent something or whatever, figure out the next path to Mars or something. Yeah, just remember GL roots. You too, Jake. We get another year, Jake. But I also was saying too, you guys see everything, the good, bad, and in between, and I think it's hopefully a good experience, even though at times it may have been a bit painful along the way. And we just appreciate your patience. And I was saying to Jake the detail with which you share what happens from month to month, day to day. So we'll miss you. We'll miss your approach to everything. And thank you again. Yeah, it means a lot.
And you guys are role models, and thank you for that. I mean, we're gonna be looking for you and checking you guys out in the future and telling all the younger kids all about you. So,
We've got you for another year, Jake.
Mr. Nixon talks about streaks too. So now maybe we start like an MIT streak, So there you go. You could be the first trendsetter, MIT streak. There you go.
Okay. All right, so if there's no more discussion, can we have some roll call?
Ms. Bradford,
yes to all.
Mr. Chanchuli,
Yes to all.
Dr. Forger,
Yes to E through I, but no on E1 and abstain on JK and L. Oh, also yes on M. Should I go over that again?
just one moment.
Oh, it's kind of quick.
You did. Hang on. So I have a yes to A through I and M. A no to EI.
E1, I think. it's
E1.
called. No
Is that
E1.
E1, E1,
Yes to A through I.
yes, and as well as M.
Abstain on JK.
Abstain on J, K, and L. Okay. Mr. Hyman,
So should I say yes to A through N? Because I'm not, yes to A through N.
And then abstain for
Right, so-
E1.
Okay, so yes to A through N minus E1.
Thank you.
okay. Mrs. Khanna,
Yes to everything, abstain on E.1, the walk-in.
Mrs. Young, Mrs. Stanley, I'm sorry. Skip something.
Yes to all.
Mrs. Young.
Yeah.
Mrs. Penna.
Yeah, yes.
You did. Yeah, you're right.
All right, moving on. Education. I would like a motion
It's late.
to move.
So moved.
Wait. Resolution A through K, all board members, and resolutions L through M Berkeley Heights. Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved. So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion.
I do have a quick follow-up on the 95% core. Do we know other districts where it has been used and there is a, high level of success? Any of that information?
Yes, that was all part of our process. So the curriculum committee, Dr. Farger, Ms. Stanley, and Ms. Bradford can certainly speak to the work that we did throughout the year, exploring the 11 programs.
Sorry, my question was specifically on the one that's being recommended.
Yes.
Have we seen it succeed in other districts? Is that why that was chosen? Just if you
Yes.
can refresh.
So by level one, when we talk about state approving a program, level one is that it's research-based. The state acknowledges the research that's been done, the efficacy of the program. So that's why it's a level one, which is why we are allowed to use ESSER funds for it. And the answer is yes, there are other districts in the state of, in New Jersey, but certainly throughout the country that are using the core program. It's based on the science of reading. So the most current science, Scarborough's rope, information from the National Reading Panel. There's a lot of efficacy studies on areas that we were missing in our curriculum and that needed to be addressed.
If there is like a one pager that that you can share or, as a part of the research? I think I'd love to read about that.
Sure, I've already sent it to the board committee and I didn't, the curriculum committee. I wasn't sure if they were going to share it out to the entire board.
I believe the curriculum minutes had links to most of this that was already sent out maybe a month ago, because I think I reported on this was it last? So yeah, and
So I did
feel free to
include
reach
all-
out to the curriculum committee. But I do want to say that our math program wasn't being used, our math program that we chose last year wasn't being used by a lot of districts, but they all followed in suit. So we are really proud of Mrs. Kopaz and her work with her team.
Thank you. And not only that, but wait till we see the iReady math scores.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's evidence of that we chose wisely. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, excuse me, Ms. Kopaz, sorry, carry on. One of those missing components that we had been lacking was vocabulary also, wasn't in the word study and the phonemic awareness, which we are now going to be including.
Oh. She got it.
I'm sorry.
Oh, my
Yes, thank you so much for saying that. Not only was it really, the explicit instruction was missing in our curriculum and in our instruction, but it was also evident in our test scores. So when we saw areas that were lacking, when people talk about evidence-based targeted instruction, one of the areas that we were always falling down in it historically was vocabulary. So we knew we needed to address and have explicit instruction in vocabulary in a specific area. And that was just one example of the area that we needed to address. And we will be through this program. Thank you.
Thank you.
No more? Okay, so if there's no more discussion, Julie, roll call.
Ms. Bradford,
Yes to all.
Mr. Chanchuli,
Yes to all.
Dr. Forger,
Yes to all.
Mr. Hyman,
Yes on items A through K.
Mrs. Khanna,
Yes to all.
Mrs. Stanley,
Yes to all.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mrs. Penna.
Yes. Okay, moving on to personnel. I'd like a motion to approve resolution A through GG, all board members. Resolution HH to KK, Berkeley Heights only. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. Nifty?
So I see, I think it's number H in personnel. Let me confirm that. Right, this is Mr. Clayton being appointed as a teacher of STEAM. And is that, am I reading that the location is Hughes, is that right? He's the current science teacher at Columbia, so is this an additional responsibility he's taking up or just a different role now?
Completely different roles. So Lisa Genoa, who is our Heights teacher.
Right.
Heights stands for STEAM and our gifted and talented
She
program. It's under the umbrella. She resigned. Mr. Clayton, amongst other candidates, applied for the position. We interviewed and he's being recommended. So this will be, if you approve it, this will be his new position
His new position, so
in
does
all
that,
4 schools.
all 4 schools? Got it.
Correct. So the reason use is as location is that's his home school.
Understood.
Every teacher has to have a home school for their final evaluation. However, he will be overseeing the programs in all 4 elementaries. And
Got
we'll be going to all four
All 4
elementaries.
schools, got it. So what does that mean for the science teacher position in Columbia?
That means Mr. Kabliska has to interview and Mr. Dagunas, they have to interview and hire.
Okay, so this is potentially one of those things over the summer that falls under
Yep.
item F.
Absolutely.
Any more discussion? Okay, Julie, roll call, please.
Ms. Bradford,
Yes to all.
Mr. Chanchuli,
Oh,
my.
my God.
Personally, I would have left it on, but
Oh,
Can't wait to see those math scores.
yes, she set me up. She set me up. Yes to all.
Dr. Forger,
Okay, abstain on B and C. No on B and X.
Wait,
And
I'm
yes,
sorry, V as in Victor?
B as in Victor
Uh-huh.
or victim. No on X,
Mm-hmm.
yes to the rest of them.
Mr. Hyman,
Yes, on items A through GG.
Mrs. Khanna,
Yes, on everything except V.
is that a no or an abstain?
No, sorry.
No.
No on V.
V to Victor, okay. Mrs. Stanley,
Yes.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mrs. Penna,
Yes. Okay, moving on to business. I would like a motion to approve resolution A through Z, all board members, and resolutions AA, BB, Berkeley Heights. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Yes, Tiffany?
I think maybe in the first or the second meeting, we had talked about starting the process for a new auditor. Do I remember that right?
Yep, we talked about it.
I think K here is it's the same firm, the same
That we
audit.
currently have, yes.
So are we
We're not going out for an RFP for that just yet. We just
not
did
this
the,
year, you mean?
well, we're about to conclude the year, so they will be the auditors that are going to come in July or August. Thereafter, if you'd like to do, we could look at the RFP for that. I know Robert, Mr. Chantrulli might have another idea of something that he thinks is more pressing to do an RFP for, so we can work that out in committee.
Finance.
No, I actually thought auditor was second. I had one, then came auditor, and now I think we're up to architect. So,
Well, I had to do the food service.
So you had to
first,
do
So
food
that kind
service.
of displaced our plan.
yeah, I got displaced, then it was my proposal, then the auditor, then architect. In any event, I've already suggested, and some of you know this, that we meet, that is to say, the finance committee meets before June 30th, by June 30th, even though if school gets out, because we do have a bunch of things to discuss, subscription busing, RFPs, whatever professional service that turns out to be. What were the other things? There was a list.
Traffic
Referendum.
and referendum.
Traffic and referendum.
So we have a multiple amount of things
Yes,
to discuss.
so we could use a meeting, so
So that will be part of
that will
the
be.
discussion.
Got it. And then item BB, are we allowed to ask what the funds will be used for? Or I heard there's a surprise and we should not be asking about it.
Please don't ask.
Don't ask. I won't ask.
I had to word this
will
very
not ask.
carefully and promise Mr. Kobliska that I would not give away anything. So it's really good news, though, and it'll be fun to be surprised.
Anybody else?
Just thank you to all the people who donate to our schools. It makes such a huge difference, from the BHEF to Pfizer to, right, the fireworks. I mean, it makes it so special for our students, and we can do so much more with them. And then, sorry, I lost it. Oh, the agreement, the memorandum of agreement with the BHEA. I want to thank them. They really came to the table with open ears and willing to hear us out, and we were willing to hear them out. It was a really great negotiations, and I really, really appreciate it. And then they worked so hard to get it done for today.
Yeah.
I'm so happy and glad that they were able to work really hard and that we were willing to come together and really make this happen. So we're excited about it.
That's great. I also want to mention, thank you to the BHEF for their donation. As a previous BHEF trustee, I know the tremendous amount of work and dedication that goes into all the fundraising that is involved in order to raise this kind of money for the schools. So a great big thank you for that donation. On that note, if there is no more discussion, can we have roll call, please, Jude?
Ms. Bradford,
Yes to all.
Mr. Chanchuli.
Yes to all.
Dr. Forger,
Yes to all.
Mr. Hyman,
Yes on items A through Z.
Mrs. Khanna,
Yes to all.
Mrs. Stanley,
Yes.
Mrs. Young, Mrs. Penna.
Yes. Okay, finance, we need a motion to approve resolution A through D, all board members. Do I have a motion?
Who did the bills?
Yeah, I did the bills. They're okay.
Okay.
Wait, that was.
Was that a motion to
Oh,
approve?
yeah, why did they laugh? I didn't.
So you
I
approve.
wasn't
Thank you.
trying to be funny.
Can we have a second?
I looked at
for
it.
that?
It wasn't an endorsement.
Oh,
Oh, that was
you
a
took it
motion.
as an endorsement.
I said it wasn't an endorsement.
Can I have a second, please? That was our motion.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on that? No? Okay.
I just want to say one thing. It will go unappreciated. But June 5th, today is a Monday. The bank statements were only released on Friday. So Lisa McAdam did an amazing job turning the financials around so that we could approve these today. Just want to thank her.
And good job.
Thank you.
Good job, Tom. Doing the bills. Okay, so moving on to comments from the public.
No, we have to-
Oh,
we have
I'm
to
sorry.
vote on it.
Sorry, we have to vote. I'm getting ready to leave. Roll call, please.
Ms. Bradford,
Yes to all.
Mr. Chanchuli.
Yes to all.
Dr. Forger,
Yes to all.
Mr. Hyman.
Yes to all.
Mrs. Khanna,
Yes to all.
Mrs. Stanley,
Yes to all.
Mrs. Young,
Yes.
Mrs. Penna.
Yes. Okay, comments from the public on any topic? Anybody like to address the board, please? I won't reread the statement.
Hi, I'm Karin Sicoli at 49 Climb Place. Will the stakeholders, parents, taxpayers ever find out who has access to the student data collected during the data mining exercise survey that was given to our Columbia Middle School and GL students on Friday? Who's taking ownership and leadership on this project? If the answer is Stephen Hopkins, is that prudent given his workload? As we just mentioned, all of the OPA requests, that's a lot on his shoulders, and his inability to manage sensitive student data with competence and confidence. Will the survey results be made public? And if so, when? How will the results move the direction for this district? And when can our students expect the next data mining survey exercise? And also I noticed that the survey was on the tab for a couple of days, but now it's no longer there. It had been revised. They had taken out the parental income question, the students' mental health question, and I think another question. So the students didn't have to divulge that information, but it's no longer on under the DEI tab. So I'm just wondering if there's any more transparency on that and if we're keeping that up since we did ask our kids those questions. And I had a question about if any more of you members were curious about the lower scores in our district in math, science, and English. That was brought up in the last meeting. Are lower math, science, and English scores important to understand and address for this Board of Education? I know Tom and Dipti had mentioned they were curious.
Please address me.
Oh, two of the board members were curious, but the rest didn't seem as curious. And I think that's fundamental to the Board of Ed, being curious about English, science, and math scores. And who going forward would be taking ownership on this matter, because us parents, I have two kids in the district, we want to see that trend moving the other direction. We want higher English scores, we want higher math scores, and we like to see higher science scores as well. Thank you.
I'd just like to remind you that when you come up to make a statement, if you could please refrain from mentioning personnel names. Thank you. Anybody else like to address the board?
Natasha Jolly, 60 Orion Road. So coming back to the Oprah real quick, without publishing the number of what the Oprah requests are, we have no idea what you're saying is true regarding the complexity or duration. And I think Ms. Cott mentioned there've been no email log requests since February, which are those lengthy ones. And regarding the question about what the administration can do to reduce the number of Oprah requests, there's certainly things you can do, like publishing things such as the detailed budget, which Ms. Cott said she would publish, but didn't, and then we had to Oprah. And then also based on my previous analysis, some of the Oprah requests are duplicative. So the number might be 44 in terms of requests received. However, in terms of the number of what work you need to do, there were several duplicative requests, individuals asking for the same information. So, and again, the director of history and languages, shouldn't his focus be primarily on on his role in that directorship? The language program is constantly under threat. He has done nothing to improve or stabilize the program while we keep losing teachers and classes. With respect to rankings, at the May 12th meeting, Dr. Faragher asked if the SI and the board to present an explanation of why rankings dropped and the plan to address it. Reaction of the board was swift and so telling. Instead of supporting the request, they shielded the superintendent with questions as to which rankings and which criteria. And Dr. Harley's resume posted on the Sarasota District website, it said that when she worked for the Sparta District, she increased high school rankings by 10 points. The BoE, especially those who voted to renew her contract early, did they ask Dr. Harley which rankings and which methodology was used?
Okay.
So apparently the term rankings, the generic term rankings without any qualifications was important enough to put on a resume. If it's appropriate to do so, why is it not appropriate for a BoE member to ask about a 52 point drop in rankings using the generic term? And also, why did this go to committee? If it was simply confusion about which rankings were referenced, that was clarified during the meeting. And does the committee think it's better equipped to analyze the rankings than the SI and the assistant SI, both PhDs? Regarding the budget, athletic fees were increased, even though Ms. Scott essentially said there's no process to be in place to ensure the fees are being collected. Shouldn't the process been fixed before increasing the fees? Has the process been fixed? Perhaps if all the required fees were collected, you wouldn't need an increase. And on the topic of the DEI, last meeting, I asked about the DEI, and Dr. Varley said, learning is great. And however, that learning should benefit the district. So I ask again, what is the benefit to our district? What did you learn that will be applied here? And can you please share the presentation with the community that you shared at the conference?
Thank you for your comments. Dr. Varley, do you have any answers? Oh, sorry. No, you're right. Anybody else? Yes.
The other thing the district can do to reduce open requests is to post minutes of the subcommittees. Bring back board correspondence so that the public can see it, and actually stop the practice of doing business in subcommittees as not intentionally, but kind of subverts OPMA a little bit, and having the business of the board in full public view on all matters. You could really reduce open requests by doing that. So over the past few months, I emailed, here we go with this thing, man. Can't you guys just get a screw for this? It's fine. Over the past few months, I've emailed everyone with information about the budget and proficiencies. I was the person who sent like 5,000 emails. Dr. Forager and Ms. Khanna were the only two who responded. Several months ago, Ms. Stanley responded to the building thing classroom surveys that I've submitted to the board, saying that she looked at it or did not look at it, and implied that the respondents were either not real or compromised, which I found was an odd thing for a board member to state, given the quality of surveys we put out. And I will say that every respondent to the building theme classroom survey was completed, and that the evidence was supported by the reaction the public had in meetings and throughout that whole process. I also provided you with results of a community-wide evaluation, which I don't think I'm going to publish. And it was a rather long and detailed evaluation, and Mr. Cianciulli finally responded to an email by saying you were doing a survey in which you were not looking for a high rate of responses, a novel approach to statistically significant surveys. And, you know, an evaluation of that size would likely never reach statistical significance. I mean, it was a 7-8 page document. It wasn't meant to be that. I guess it speaks to the tactic that appears to be that unless a survey or a tool is designed to elicit a response favorable to your positions and that of the superintendent, you try to undermine it or you try to somehow harm its credibility. And I think it might be better if you really want to improve relationships with the public to take the feedback in a way that might be a little bit more open and accommodating. You had 2 board members talking about proficiencies. I looked at those numbers. Are those the most important numbers in the world? I don't know. I mean, they're important to me and they're important enough for the state to track. We dropped in math, science, and English across every single school. Every single school dropped. Now, I don't know if that's the only measure, but how you can protect a superintendent from speaking about that, how you would all come together and stop the 2 people who are doing the job of trying to ask the right questions is beyond me. Like, what's your job? Isn't your job to figure this out? Isn't math, science, and English one of the most important things we do as a school? And isn't that one measure an important enough thing for the superintendent to talk to the community about? Like, why would you abstain from that? Why would you vote no to have the superintendent talk to the public about that a month later? Why? It's ridiculous. Have a good night.
Anybody else like to address the board? No? Okay. Diwali, do you have any answers for any of those questions?
As far as the DEI presentation, I have no problem posting it on the website. We had one in 2022 and one in 2023. I will say our student survey right now has a 45% participation rate, which is really big for that many students to participate. So we're very excited about that. And Mr. Hopkins and I are the ones with access to that information, but we will do a public presentation on it once we glean all the data and then find out how our students are feeling. I mean, I get that some people don't think that the way students feel is important, but I believe all of our students should be invited to the table, and no matter ethnicity, sexual orientation, etc. And that's our goal behind that. And I don't think there was anything else for me.
So every Oprah request, even if it seems similar or the same as by a different person, still has to be responded to. In terms of, I never made a statement that fees were not being collected correctly. We subsequently discussed that fees were different because people who participate in both athletics and clubs may think they're not paying because they're in a club, but they've already paid it with the athletics fee. That's all I want to clarify.
Thank you. Okay, so we will move on to new business. Any new business?
I was just going to ask, since Mary Beth teased about the math scores, do we know when we get NJSLA results, like over the summer, and then just so yeah, something like that, and so we would probably in the fall get some sort of a yeah. Just curious.
Yeah, we present generally twice a year
Right.
on our tests, on our NJSLA scores and et cetera. So we do have multiple public presentations on that.
Robert?
I just wanted to say
Oh, I'm
thank
sorry,
you, Mary
Beth.
Beth, for everything. We
Yeah.
will all miss you. We all value you. The entire district, everyone who works here, all the kids, everyone loves you and everyone respects you.
Just so I brought her Sparta, just so everybody knows.
Pam, did you have something?
I just wanted to mention that the Berkeley Heights YMCA is hosting their Pride event on June 8th from 4 to 6. I unfortunately can't go because I have a child conflict, but it
Gail
brings
mentioned
out many of our students And so I think it's really important for, us to support them. So if anybody can go, I really would appreciate it. And then the second thing is we're a board of committees, right? That's how we work. Because we are a decently large district, right? I think smaller districts can maybe get away with not doing board of committees, but we work that way so we can get as much done as we do, right? Because the agenda, as you can see, is huge, right? If we had to discuss all of that in a meeting prior to this, right, it gets very difficult. And so we are a board of committees, and we do encourage each other to reach out. Tom, I know we've talked, but you really still haven't reached out. Dipti, you haven't reached out to the curriculum committee about the scores. So, if you do want to get these things, right, they're important to the students and important to you, you need to then work with the committees, right? That's how our board works.
So one point on that. Does the curriculum committee now have a date on which we can expect anything, given that this was-
Tomorrow.
Perfect. I'm looking forward to the report.
I was going to say, I'm not the chair of the curriculum committee, so you'd have to ask Pam.
I just did all that.
It's okay. So I would just like to also to say that there are multiple ways the boards operate, but we are a board of committees. It's in our bylaws, and that is how we work. So, and also just on a happier note, I'm the last to go, but I want to say so thank you to Mary Beth. It is very bittersweet for me because I am excited for your retirement, but I'm very sad that you are leaving this district. In the short time that you have been here, you have made such an impact on the students, on the teachers, on the board, and we wish you everything.
Thank you. It's very bittersweet for me as well. But looking forward to having a lot of fun with the grandbabies and, spending time obviously with the children and keeping my hand in education because I value it. But I really want to take the time to just thank Dr. Varley for all her support, not only here in Berkeley Heights, but for as long as I've known her. I've always felt like we've been able to accomplish extraordinary things together. And so you've been an incredible support of mine, and I've always wanted to thank you for that. I thank the board for all their support, and I'm very proud of what we've accomplished over the last 3 years. I think we've done some extraordinary work, and I hope it will continue. And I want to thank Dr. Greer. We've only had a short time to work together, but it really has been a pleasure and a joy. So thank you, everybody. It's been an honor to be here, and I really appreciate all of your support and everything we've been able to do together. Thank you.
And on that happy note, I would like a motion to
Sorry,
adjourn.
Angela,
Oh,
sorry,
I'm
one last on the whole committees, and I think it's important. I would propose that we have a very clear, what is the roles and responsibilities for each of the committees documented? I don't think I have seen it. So what should be the role of the curriculum committee? What should be the role of the policy committee? I think some of them are quite obvious, the policy committee, but particularly now that we have punted this particular analysis to the curriculum committee, I would ask if we have a very clear, what's the expectation of the members, who's doing what within the committee would be super helpful.
I do believe we have descriptions of the committees.
Not all of them, but I think the
No,
curriculum committee, it's at the top of the minutes.
Kidding. But
Yeah,
I know,
curriculum committee is the one that has it on the top of the minutes.
right, but I do remember we actually, beginning of the year, we put it down when we were looking to get board members to determine who wants to go where. We put the descriptions together so that we understood what was required
Yeah,
and what was involved.
when we were talking about volunteering for
Right.
which committee we wanted in January.
Right. Yes.
Descriptions were then circulated, but,
Yes.
but she has a point. We could probably put them at the top of every minutes and just have them visible all year long.
Pamela Stanley brought a Word document and shared it with the whole board. Do you remember that?
No.
Pamela Stanley,
Page-
that lady.
I don't remember that.
Back when I was trying to get a governance committee.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
Governance committee, what's that? I don't
Yeah.
remember it.
All right. Can we have a motion? Can we have a motion to adjourn, please? It's late. Move second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, adjourned.